Hello and welcome back.
Hi, welcome to Gay by Gay.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going. My brain is melting out my ears, like usual.
Yeah, so usual, normal.
Usual.
Great.
We're normal.
Perfect day. Wonderful.
Yes.
So today, we talked about JoJo Siwa just a little bit ago. Yeah, shut up, my hair got in my way and I did like a Valley
It's
Girl.
so long. You're like flip, flip, flip.
It gets in the way. Shut up. But we just recently talked about JoJo Siwa, and that really brought up between us the topic of dance moms.
Dance moms.
Because the other night in class, I like looked over at you as you were stretching, and I saw you watching some of the old dance moms clips, and I was like, bruh.
Yeah.
So it just made it makes sense that we would just have to talk about dance moms.
Yeah.
So what was your first experience with dance moms specifically?
I don't remember specifically. It was either the end of season 1 or the very beginning of season 2 that I started watching it. And I remember it was on like Tuesdays, like 7 to 8 or 8 to 9 or something.
Yep.
And
8 to 9.
Yeah, 8 to 9. And I would watch it every night and I would stretch while I watched it because it was like revolutionary for me.
Yeah.
That was when I was like, they have these? They have dance competitions?
Like that blew my mind too, honestly. Like that's where my I'm not going to say my love of dance came from that because I think that was just natural that I was drawn to dancing, but that's where I realized this is really interesting.
Cool,
Like this goes beyond just like my high school dance class. Like this is there's an entire like whole community thing out here.
Before that I never heard of dance competitions
Never
in
heard
our
of it.
city. Yeah,
Never heard of it.
And then like just watching it, like I remember like falling in love with Maddie and being like, oh, I want to be like Maddie and all of that.
Which is so funny because when you first started dancing with me, your facials were very much reflective of that.
I wonder why.
I wonder if that had an impact.
But yeah, like Dance Moms on TV was like the original, like watching dance competition YouTube videos on YouTube.
Yep.
You know what
that
I mean?
was back before we even realized that was a thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know for me, when Dance Moms came out, I had been into dance for about a year or two at that point. And then I'd seen commercials for it, and I just ended up watching it at one point.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I've never been a big TV person. Never, ever. You know, I wasn't one of those ones where I was like, oh, my favorite show's on from this time to this time, so I want to sit down and watch it. This was the one show in my entire life that I was like, no, TV is mine. I am watching my show, and if you don't like it, get out. And it was also not even like, oh, it's on, I'm going to watch it. It was, no, I want to watch it every single week. I know when it comes out. I know when it starts. Like, I want to watch it.
I don't even remember if I started watching it before or after I started dancing. Do you remember? I have no idea.
I think it would have been right before you started dancing because I had watched it a little bit. And then that's when I was like, strangest thing for me, watching it, I found out obviously it was Abby Lee Miller.
Yeah.
And I got so excited because it was my name, right?
True.
And, attached to something in the dance community. And I was like, oh my God, Miss Abby.
Yeah.
I was like, that's so cool. I could be Miss Abby.
Yeah.
I could teach dance classes.
Yeah.
That's where the idea came from. And now I own a studio.
Yeah.
What happened?
The Dance Moms rabbit hole.
I fell down and I never called back out.
I used to be that girl, and I did the little, like, on Tumblr, doing the, like, role play dances. Like, oh, if you were going to make a dance, you would choose, like, these girls and, like, this concept and put together the costumes and stuff and enter, like, the little story. And then you would get, like, graded and placed.
Yes.
It was so
Did you ever do the YouTube videos where you used to, like, take the different clips and, like, splice them together to make an entire routine?
I did.
Oh.
I was deep into it. I was into it.
I love that.
I know. Oh, it was so long ago.
And it's so funny. Again, I had done high school dance classes before that. And I'd done traditional folk dancing, like in different types when I was younger. But this was my first, like, experience with more commercialized dancing. And I just remember being so blown away. The first time I saw a side aerial, blew my mind.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Blew my mind.
Oh, my gosh.
I was like, whoa, big flippin'.
Do you have any favorite routines throughout all of the seasons?
Oh, man. We could do a YouTube special on that, my dude. Like, favorite solo from each season, favorite costume from each season, favorite routine from each season. Like,
I think entire routine.
Oh, man. Like, from any season?
Yeah. You can name a couple. You don't have to name one.
I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, God. Oh, God. Okay. I really, really liked the Rose Garden.
Yeah.
I liked the music. I liked the weird vibe I got off of it. I liked a lot of that stuff. Love the costumes. No Sign of Life was another really good one. Loved the concept. Loved the music and everything else with that one. I liked See, the thing is, like, every routine starts to, like, blend itself because that is one of the things
because there's so many.
I want to address, right? You have to realize with this, now that I run my own studio, I realize that there is a lot of stuff that's portrayed on the show that is not real. So we'll get into that probably after the break because there's a lot to say about that one. But going back really quickly to favorite routines, that's really tough. Because there's just so many, and then you could say one to me, and I'm going to be like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that one.
One of my favorites, the first one that comes to my head, and don't even ask me why I love this dance so much. I just loved it. It was Open Waters. I loved that dance. I love that dance. I love the costume. I love the song. I love
the last text.
Yeah, that was a really good one.
Yep.
All the national ones are pretty good.
Was not as big on This Is My Beauty.
The first
Oh my god, I do have to mention little Mackenzie at the time from Mackenzie Ziegler's.
Oh.
She, like, runs around in a circle, like, does a little grand jeté on stage, and disappears,
She's
never comes back.
Cute.
Hilarious
Oh my
to
gosh.
me. Pulling in ringers, so funny to me now as like an actual dance instructor. So funny because I know what they're doing and I know their techniques. I'm like, oh. The first season, I think, is a lot closer to reality, the reality of what it is.
Because it isn't overproduced.
Absolutely, by the end of everything, so overproduced.
It's
so ridiculous.
It's like Real Housewives, but dance.
So, better question. Oh, just a quick mention. The other routine that really sticks out to me for some reason, trio, Southern Belles.
Really?
Don't ask me why. Hated the costume. Wasn't even big on the choreography. Didn't really like the music. Don't ask me why that one, like if you mentioned Dance Moms, a clip from that pops up into my head, and I'm like, why? Why?
Yeah.
Of all the things, why Southern Belles? Don't know. But you've been to dance competitions. It is quite different. And as I said, I very much think, like, by the end of it, it's very much overproduced. I feel like the first season is by far the closest to actual reality.
Yeah.
What was the first routine you remember seeing?
First routine I remember seeing? I don't know. I honestly have no clue. It might have been... What is it called? The one...
Can't help you.
The one...
Don't know.
It's Chloe, Paige, and Maddie, and they're in the little swimsuits, and Chloe's headpiece falls over her
pinups.
Yeah.
Pinup girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, where her headband falls in front of her face. Yeah.
That's like one of the first ones I ever saw.
Oh, that's so... Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's the first episode,
Yeah,
too.
it was early on, though. That I think I probably saw clips on YouTube before I started watching it on TV. Because then I would see the times on the TV, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I remember back into season 1 as well.
Yeah.
No, one of the things that always griped me about Dance Moms was in the beginning I felt like it was very much about the routines because I think the initial episodes were originally only half an hour long. They were only slated to do one season. By the end of it, each episode was between an hour to an hour and a half, depending on if it was a special or not. And a majority of it was filled with the mama drama.
Of course.
It was called Dance Moms, not Dance Kids, not dance routines.
Not dancers.
So there's always been that argument of it's called Dance Moms. You knew that it was meant to be more of a reality show, kind of like any of the housewife shows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's a lot of that argument being made where it was like, it was made for the drama.
Yeah.
That's what it was about. But a lot of us in the community go, I'm here to watch the dancing.
Yeah.
Where did you fall on that? Were you there for the mama drama or were you there for the dancing?
I think it depended. When I definitely started when I was younger, I was there for the dancing. Now that I'm older, I think I just love going back and watching the fights. I love it.
I hate that.
And one of my exes always used to, like, I used to watch them, and he'd be like, why are you watching this? This is stressful. Those children are, like, crying.
That's my response,
And
right?
I'm like, okay, I know it's from the past, so it's not going on right now, but sometimes it's just like, I just like watching them yell at each other.
Real hard question here.
Okay.
Did you or did you not agree with Abby Lee Miller's teaching style?
Style entirely. I think there are some...
Because there are a lot of people who would say that her methods were pure abuse to those
I
kids.
don't think they were pure abuse. I think there might have been times where she had chosen the wrong words to say. Overall, I think it was okay. I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with how the moms intertwine with it. Yeah. And I think when you pass that boundary, then it gets kind of bad.
I would definitely agree. As a dance instructor myself, there are definitely times that I observe it. Some of the things that, I don't even know if it's some of the things she says. Sometimes I think it's the way she said them.
Yeah, true.
I mean, for example, I would have no problem calling you a dingbat in class. But the way it's said and addressed is very, very different. And I also think that age makes a big difference. I mean, for you, if you're doing it across the floors and you screw up on something, I'm going to have no problem looking at you and going, hey, dingbat. Yeah. Did you realize that you're doing this? Yeah. Did I tell you to fix it? Yeah. You might want to fix it. Yeah. Her whole thing was very much, she was at that point more aggressive, I feel like. And yelling at like a 6, 7-year-old is very different than me looking at you at like 17 going, oi, I've corrected that, right? Yeah. You might want to fix it. Yeah. And yet, at the same time, you and I both know, especially with competitive dance, down in the States especially, things are going to be harder. There are going to be higher expectations. And I agree that every mom wants to protect their kid, but there were some times that I felt like those moms freaked out over the weirdest things.
Yeah, some of the moms just...
Like, maybe it's because we're up in Canada and we just don't quite get the same level of, like...
Drama?
Stage mom.
Yeah. Not at all.
We have a couple of stage moms, but not quite like that.
We should take a break, actually, and get on our drama all straight. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, I need to reorganize my brain goo.
Yeah, I can tell.
Okay. Welcome back.
I like how you did that like 3 times before it started recording, and then it finally captured it. You just kept rolling.
But I was going to say about the drama.
What the hell were you talking about?
I was going to say that sometimes, like, I know that sometimes the producer puts the drama there. Like, it's like manufactured storylines and stuff like that.
Yeah, they do. Because... I mean, they've admitted before, like, the show wasn't scripted. However, they would ask provoking questions.
Well, real life has some drama. I don't think real life has that amount of drama.
No.
But in the States, I was also going to say that a lot of kids in the States, there's a lot more scholarships and such in the States, like opportunities in general. Yeah. So they have a lot riding on it, you know what I mean? So I kind of understand why the moms are so intense, but at the same time, it's like...
they're kids,
right? They're kids, yeah.
So another interesting question. So you kind of talked about Abby Lee Miller and her teaching styles a little bit. Moving on to the kids... where they are now. One of the biggest gripes that I sometimes have, I can understand that maybe this was not the best experience for quite a few of them. I can understand that. There were definitely, as much as, I've said before, I wasn't necessarily against Abby Lee's techniques, but some of the things, for example, constantly comparing every child to Maddie, especially for me, looking at Mackenzie, going, that is going to screw up any small child's brain, going, I am never as good as my sibling. Yeah. That's going to lead to some long-term trauma.
Yeah. I mean, what I really don't agree with is trash-talking parents right in front of children.
Like, your mom does this and your mom does that.
Well, you know how they always say, like, if you're getting divorced, don't trash-talk your spouse to your kid, because that's just wrong.
And for a dance teacher to do that with their parent, that's not appropriate.
No, not at all.
And again, I can understand, I'll be honest, as a dance instructor now, I can completely understand why Abby Lee Miller is as insane as she is. You have no idea. There have been times, I'm going to be very blunt about this, where there was one time in our studio, and this was back when I was 17 at the time teaching. I was still running a free program at the time. It was not like a paid for class or anything, because I was too young, obviously, and didn't know quite what I was doing at that point. Yeah. I remember one time, I was working with... We called it the elites group back then. Looking back on it, we were all kind of trash still, but whatever.
Of course,
we were building up to eventually being able to compete. Yeah. We had done an exercise in emotion. So, of course, some of the girls got very emotional and some of them cried. But it wasn't in a negative way. I didn't say anything to make them cry. Yeah. We were practicing emotion, right? And, of course, some of the kids are much better at acting. So, for example, you, I'm pretty sure, were crying at one point.
Oh, I cry all the time, though.
So, get this. A kid that wasn't even part of that class told her mom that she had seen one or two of the older girls in a different class crying. Whole situation completely blows up, ends up with me in the hallway of the studio being surrounded. I'm 17. I was surrounded by a bunch of dance moms who were all yelling at me about abusing their children. Yeah. And then eventually it came out that the kid that, said something wasn't even in that class, wasn't affected by it. Half of these parents weren't affected by it.
I know.
Some of the kids had to come in and go, that's not what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
The fact that I had to have a bunch of children defend me, a 17-year-old, against a bunch of dance moms. I can completely understand why Abby Lee is insane because even now I am traumatized by that experience and I am afraid of a lot of our dance moms at the studio.
Yeah, it's true.
I am scared of them.
Yeah.
I don't blame her for being crazy.
Yeah.
Dance moms are crazy.
It's true.
And I'll be honest, ours are so much more tame compared to the ones down there. Like, I am not surprised that she's a wingnut. Yeah. I am not surprised. Yeah. But one of the few things that I have a bit of a gripe with, I can understand that some of the girls probably didn't have the best experience. Mm-hmm. What I am not okay with is them acting as if it never happened. Have you ever seen that? Like, there are compilations of Maddie Ziegler, for example, outright kind of ignoring the fact that Dance Moms ever happened. She won't even say the word Dance Mom. She'll go, oh, that TV show that I used to be on. Won't say Abby Lee's name, won't mention the show, won't mention anything.
I don't think it is a personal choice. I think that has a lot to do with the surrounding lawsuits.
Perhaps, but it's absolutely been known that they will outright sort of like not talk about it or completely trash it and everything else.
Well,
I'm just kind of left sitting here and I'm like, sorry, not sorry. Mm-hmm. You still need to look back on your roots and go, that's what made me famous. Yeah. Sorry, not sorry. My personal opinion here, if it hadn't been for the fact they weren't just filming these kids, they were filming Abby Lee's studio. Mm-hmm. If Abby Lee hadn't been there, none of you would be famous. None of you would be known for anything. You would be like every other competition kid. And sorry, not sorry, the Dance Moms kids, for where they were and even where they were at by the end of their journey, they were not as good as a million other kids on the circuit. Yeah. Like, you look at what kids now are doing, and you can't compare them.
Yeah, no way.
So I'm just kind of left sitting here going, you would have been one of a million. You wouldn't have even been a standout in the dance circuit. The only reason you were famous is because of that woman. Yeah. I just can't stand the fact that they're just like, nope, never happened. And the moms are just like, no, my child got famous on her own. Yes, your child was talented, arguably. If it hadn't been for Abby Lee and the Abby Lee Dance Company, your kid never would have been known.
Oh, probably, I think it's more just like the,
Kalani and Bryn may have been an exception because they came from club dance before.
Well, JoJo, too, because she has the Nickelodeon stuff.
Yeah.
But it's more like a...
Even that, I don't know that JoJo would have been discovered. She wouldn't have been on Dance Moms if it weren't for Abby Lee's Ultimate Dance Competition, and I don't think Nickelodeon would have known about her.
But I don't know what spurred Nickelodeon at all, honestly.
I think a lot of it was seeing her on Dance Moms. That's where a lot of her initial followers came from, and then she grew from there because she already had a platform.
Yeah. I think maybe...
To be fair, JoJo is also very grateful to Abby Lee. I've seen them do stuff together before. Like, JoJo is one of the few that even though they didn't necessarily leave on good terms, like, JoJo's been like, no, this was a part of my history.
I think a lot of them might be just scared to say anything about it because it's such a divided, not even issue, it's such a divided opinion that as soon as you say, oh, I support this or I don't support this, then you're gonna lose a follower. You know what I mean?
The trouble is that I very much see it as being ungrateful.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that everything that happened should have happened. I'm not saying that. I really don't think kids should be involved in reality TV at all. I don't think it's healthy. Yeah. But that being said, I'm just kind of like, you still need to look back on the past and be like, yeah, that was a thing. And yeah, if it hadn't been for that, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I think you do need to acknowledge that. And so all of them sitting there going, no, I got famous off of my own merits. Not completely. Yeah. Not completely. And that's not fair to say.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think the other biggest argument in the community is constantly, who was the best dancer? Should some of these kids have been on a team? Yeah. Looking at this from a purely subjective point of view, knowing that you have competed before, how do you feel about that subject? Do you think that all of them automatically should have been given solos and stuff? Do you think all of them automatically should have been in certain routines or on certain teams? Like, how do you feel about that, knowing the inner workings of a studio?
I think going up in the here's the thing. I think going up in the seasons, it wasn't a studio thing. It was a TV show thing after it picked up. It was
very fake after that?
Yeah, it wasn't here's who we have in the studio. We do auditions every year. It's mostly just, these are the kids coming back, or we have this team to create drama, or like stuff like that. It's not It's not a reality thing.
No, but one of the biggest things was constantly, and no, for anyone out there, most studios don't do pyramids, and most studios don't do half the things that they showed on the show.
Apparently, Abby only did the pyramids because the producer told her so.
I would believe that.
I would believe too.
I would believe that.
Who does that?
Exactly. No dance teacher would normally do that. That's a lot of freaking work for no freaking reason.
Yeah.
The other thing I can say, a lot of the routines do start to blend together somewhat. Like, I was sitting here thinking about this earlier. a lot of the routines blend together because you have to realize that for us,
so many, yeah.
Realistically, a lot of the senior company members at our studio will do maybe between 13 to 16 routines in a year.
Yeah.
And most of them take a couple of weeks to months to learn their routines and then even longer to clean them. The fact that we had like 6, 7, 8-year-olds learning routines in like 5 days and then like competing them.
It's crazy.
Insanity. Yeah. I have no idea how these kids were able to do that. I have no idea how. I have no idea how these teachers did that.
I guess it's a thing where like if you practice the pickup and you do it over and over and over again, it just kind of becomes a thing.
That is to some extent why every routine looks so similar because if it didn't, the kids didn't have time to learn new things like that.
Between it.
They didn't. Mm-hmm. But, again, going back to that sort of question of looking at the show the way it was meant to be portrayed, how did you feel about some of the team members? Did you think, again, was it one of those things, there are constantly arguments where it's like, for example, Paige should have been in the front more, Nia should have been in the front more, they should have had equal opportunity, or you knowing competitions, how do you feel about that?
I feel like, I don't know.
Right?
Because, like, I don't think that, like, I don't think any dancer has the right to tell a choreographer what to do with their students.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, I don't know, because I don't know all the inner workings of it. I can't say, like, oh, she should have done this, oh, she should have done that, because I don't know what was real and what wasn't.
I mean, for me, as a competitive instructor, I would agree in a lot of cases with where Abby was coming from. I'm sure a lot of it was faked by the producers in order to cause drama. Yeah. For example, the producers were the ones who told Abby who got a solo and who didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
So the mom's constantly saying, you should give my child a solo. Yeah. That wasn't up to her, so I don't know what they were expecting her to be able to do about it, or whether the producers were just like, you need to make us think about this.
Can Kendall do a duet with an empty chair? Empty chair, do a solo!
But I definitely do agree, looking at it from Abby Lee's perspective, you normally put your best performers in the front and the people with the best technique in the front. Yeah. And anyone who struggles a little bit more, you tend to put them towards the back. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, when it comes to dance in general, sure, equal opportunity. Yeah. When it comes to competitive dance where everyone is paying exceedingly high prices in order to be able to compete, and everyone's competing for trophies and scores and stuff, you put your best foot forward. Yeah. If it's recital, sure, whatever. If it's a competition that everybody is paying buku dollars to be able to do, no, not equal opportunity. I think you need to prove your worth, and I think that comes through hard work and growth. And another one of the arguments I will always make, a lot of people said, oh, but Nia works extremely hard. Sometimes, even though you can work as hard as you want, it doesn't mean necessarily that you are able or ready. Yeah. Because in a lot of cases, people will be like, oh, Nia deserved to win a solo, and I'm kind of like, if her technique wasn't as good and her performance wasn't as good, it wasn't as good. Yeah. Period. End of story. If you have flex feet on an aerial, you're not going to score as high as someone with pointed toes.
I think, especially in the later seasons, I'd say for the group dances, I saw a lot of really good, like, line switches and stuff. There was a lot of equal opportunity, I feel, in the later seasons with the senior team.
Quite a bit more. And I mean, I'll be honest, a lot of it was featured around Maddie being the feature. Yeah. It was a formula. Yeah. And unfortunately, it worked. And realistically, I wouldn't want to use a formula at the same competition because you're going to get called out by judges. Oh, yeah. Knowing that they were hopping around from different cities and different states with realistically almost never the same judges, you can use that formula to win again and again and again. It makes sense. Yeah. Like, for me as an instructor, what Abby Lee Miller did with the parameters that she was given and the time frame that she was given to do it in, everything she does makes perfect sense to me. Yeah. Every single thing. Yeah. And I don't think I encourage hard work, but I don't believe that just because you work hard means that you're ready for every opportunity. Yeah. Different kids are ready at different stages. Yeah. And realistically, am I going to put a child out there if I don't think they're going to do well with something? No, I'm not. Yeah. For example, I wouldn't just give, I wouldn't give a hip hopper a lyrical solo. Yeah. Because I know that that's not their style. I know they're not going to look good. Yeah. So I don't care if the mom is yelling at me, give my kid lyrical. Yeah. I'm going to look at the parent and be like, it's not their suit. Yeah. I have your kid's best interest at heart. Yeah. And I'm sure that sometimes parents don't want to hear that, but that's the reality of the situation.
I mean, for me, I have a lot of trust issues with that show.
That's fair.
And more of me is more like, I don't even believe in the competitions half the time.
No, I mean, a lot of them were faked for the show, and you have to know that.
It's like,
As I said, the first season was definitely the most real. Yeah. Getting into the later seasons, completely faked. I mean, by the time you got to the last nationals, like, what was even happening?
I don't know.
So I'm sure at some point this will come up again. It is a pretty common topic.
Yeah.
You and I go through phases where we end up watching a whole bunch of clips from the show and everything. So I'm sure at some point it's going to raise its ugly head again.
Yes.
But that's all for this episode. Let us know what you thought of the show. Did you watch the show? Do you have any experience on a competition circuit? Do you have any inner knowledge of any of this? What's your opinion? Talk to us.
Yes, of course. You can talk to us anywhere you want. Honestly, we have everything. And our anything. Especially TikTok. I like
YouTube,
TikTok,
Tumblr, Twitter,
Facebook,
Instagram.
Yep.
Is that all the things.
Yeah. So
the only thing we don't have is LinkedIn. Don't find us on there.
No, that's for business people. We're not business people.
No, we're just dumb broads on the internet.
It's true. Okay, guys, we hope you have a good day. Take gay by gay, guys.
Bye.